We apply filter. Filter that can be used.
We can make anything.
Calling to order the business meeting for Diamond Lake School District 76 for Tuesday, August 21st. Roll call, please.
Bordeaux.
Here.
Hale here. Cotman.
Here.
Kessler. Andela. Walker. Gaffney.
Here, please rise for the
Pledge
pledge.
allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You have a suggestion from the superintendent. We don't have any executive session. All right, so next we open up the floor for any public comments. Are anyone happy to do our agenda this evening? Having no public comments, we yield the floor to the superintendent for presentations. Thank you.
Yeah.
The first one is our city goals update, and it's going to be myself, Dr. Greco, Mr. Hanson, and Mr. Rogers. We're going to go over each of our goal areas. We're really excited because this is our 4th year working on the same goals, yet the targets have changed and the strategies have changed, but they're still ongoing. So it's nice to have the clarity and continuity that we've had for the past several years. So I think you're going to really see some progress. We're going to present them to you. We welcome your suggestions and feedback, and then at the next meeting, we'll have you approve, September 4th meeting, we'll have you approve our goals. So I'm going to hand the floor over to Dr. Draka, who's going to go over goal area 1 and 2.
So I'll cover goal areas 1, which is academic excellence, and goal area 2, which is professional excellence. So this year, we're going to be focusing on creating learning frameworks and curricular roadmaps that relate to social studies and science. In the past 2 years, we focused on ELA and math. And then also the dual language leadership team will be guiding curricular development as it relates to the Spanish language arts. We're going to continue to strengthen our SLO process. This is part of the teacher evaluation plan, but it is also very much a part of strong professional practice. So the principals and myself have worked to strengthen that process moving forward this year. Third, we're going to utilize student assessment data and the Alpine system to help us guide instruction and meet student individual needs. So we're going to try and utilize the Alpine system and its robustness to help us meet the individual needs of each of our kids. And then lastly, we're going to do some research and development on looking into a digital learner profile for each student, which is sort of a synopsis or a brief synopsis of a student's academic performance and academic career. Moving then on to the professional excellence, we have 3 targets under professional excellence. Sure.
Since you utilize student assessment data to guide instruction, have you been doing that, or have you just been creating the foundations in order to be able to do it?
No, since this administration has come in, we began utilizing MAP assessment right away to benchmark our students and provide interventions. So we have very much been involved in utilizing data and being data informed to drive our instructional decisions since day 1.
So for this goal, what would be new for this year, the stretch or
In large part, it relates to our use of Alpine, taking the data that we've had for the last 3 years, now moving into year 4, to begin using our interventionists to take a look at a student's academic performance over the last 4 years, and be able to individually prescribe, so to speak, interventions that are going to help that individual student. We adopted Alpine last year, and so what Alpine allows us to do is really look at the comprehensive assessments that we use for each child, to be able to gauge that child's performance. We have had those individual data points over the past, but we haven't had a system that helped house all of it. So the Alpine system is robust. It has a lot of bells and whistles, and it's a system that's going to require incremental training, step-by-step training over time. And so this year, we're really looking at focusing on utilizing Alpine with our interventionists. So we have actually, we belabor the point, but we have developed an interventionist team who is beginning to dig more deeply into the use of that system and make better use of our data.
Looking forward, in the year, the board looks at these and has a conversation with the superintendent, you guys present, as to whether you make progress or not. That particular one, I think, needs more words for us to do at the back end, look and say, this is how we build on our capability from the prior year and what additional.
Right, more specificity there. Okay.
Target, I guess, what we have to look at, bless you, what I want to expand on is, in addition to the targets, what we're going to do is come up with strategies to achieve each target, so we don't use a lot of words in the target. We want to keep the targets less simple, but then we want to put more details and strategies on how to achieve the target. So would that be helpful, or would you like to see more words?
And that, for that particular one, who has 6 student assessment data, you've already been doing that. So I just would like to see where's the stretch that you're working with this year. And it might not take many words, and can be enhanced with the strategies, but it seems like it could use a little bit more specificity.
So it could be new audience, it could be capabilities in the Alpine tool, a number of things. Trust you.
Yeah, and I think if I remember correctly, in the past, we presented this in a slightly different format that included some of those. Am I right in saying that? So,
Even if we give you like a larger bird's eye view, to get it down into more details.
that, I mean, that's a great question, and it's really just building on the momentum that we developed last year with Alpine to help continue to hone that process, to get better at it, to make it more routine, to make it more ritualized, to make it part of everyday life for both the teachers and administrators, and some of those elements take some time to grow. Did I go over 4 again? I did, sorry. Now I'm on the next slide. Oh, sorry, John.
On point 4, we're combining points 3 and 4. So I would imagine that the data in point 3 would be fuel for this profile in point 4. Do I understand point 4 correctly, that you're going to be developing a framework? And will this be a standardized framework that then the data will populate it, and then there'll be some type of
You can almost
mark and
think of a digital learner profile as like a more robust report card that allows you to take a look at all of the data that we put into a student's Alpine profile. And then at one moment, in one simple, easy to understand learner profile, you're able to see your child's attendance, you're able to see your child's academic growth over time, rather than like a report card, it's just like a snapshot of that very moment in time. It allows you to see long-term progress. It allows you to see growth. Typical report cards won't necessarily have growth involved, and they'll just have how they're doing in a specific subject at that point. It could also include things like interest elements, like are they interested in band, music, digital media, arts, and taking into consideration some of the social and emotional and activity parts of the academic or the school experience. So just more of a comprehensive view that provides some longitudinal data for a kid, and it gets growth involved rather than just a snapshot at one point.
It's not hard to describe specifics of that, but it seems to me that you're describing something that would be really cool in dashboard form, more than a report card per se. But
What do you mean by dashboard form?
versus report card, well, report card to me connotes static list of items and numbers as opposed to visuals. targeted, make targeted green, not make targeted yellow.
And that is,
Multiple pieces of data in a more graphic.
that is exactly what we're looking to do. So, again, growing that Alpine system and looking at the potential there for developing a digital learner profile, and then maybe potentially looking outside to see what other products are out there that can help give us that sort of snapshot, so that a parent or a teacher or a student themselves has a real understanding of where the child is at beyond just work.
Do you think this is maybe something that you're gonna look out and see what's available?
Yeah, we're in the R&D phase right now. I mean, it really is. It's just research and development, see what's out there, examine the Alpine system and the data that we can use there, look at some of the other companies that are digging into this work, and seeing if we can come up with a digital learner profile. I think Mrs. Jaffe, the way you mentioned it as a platform is really ideal for us. The next one focuses on professional excellence. So we're really looking to enhance the operations of our instructional leadership team, our professional advisory council, our dual language leadership teams, our building level leadership teams, to ensure that those teams run efficiently, they run effectively, they run cohesively, they have strong elements of collaboration, and they have a lot of structure protocol that guides their behaviors. So we're really looking to enhance our operations for our PLTs. And then number two is to foster and promote teaching and learning environments that are culturally responsive and inclusive. And our goal and focus there is really to ensure that we are culturally competent, culturally proficient educators that are aware of the backgrounds and social emotional needs of our kids, and the demographics in which our community includes, to make sure that we're meeting the needs of our very diverse group of students. The last one, number three, you're going to see run through many of the goal areas, and that is to develop a cohesive district reorganization plan that promotes understanding and acceptance of the change process, individual flexibility, ownership, and leadership. So as we get into moving 3 buildings into 3 schools, 2 buildings, we really want to be thoughtful and empathetic and understanding of the change process and how it's going to impact teachers and students and administrators. And so with the New Beginnings Committee, we're really going to be digging to that to ensure that that is done thoughtfully.
A little bit about Goal 3. So our targets are utilize kind of professional learning time for all staff in a collaborative, productive, and efficient manner. We've been working with our grade level teams and department teams for the past year, where we have teacher leader positions, driving the agenda, creating the agenda, working with your principals, and facilitating the meetings. For the end of last year, we have put together a survey of what are things that are going really well and what are things we want to grow in. So they've identified areas they want to grow in, and so each of those team leaders will work with their principals and their teams to enhance what they're already doing well, but also work on the areas that we need to continue to grow in. So that's going to be a goal that they meet with quarterly with their principals, and then we're monitoring the progress of how they're working together in teams and seeing if they're improving the areas that they want to. The secondly is develop a cohesive and comprehensive area plans. And this is more of a operational piece to help us stay organized, to help us stay efficient, and really look back and say, here are things that worked well throughout the year, and here are things that we need to look at, look ahead and do better. So we started out with each of the departments and then each of the schools, and I think it's just a really good planning and organizing tool. It's going to be an internal document, but it's also a good transparency document for our staff as to what's coming up next. They should be planning for conferences, or when the dashboards are coming up, when they're uploading data, when prevention meetings are coming up. So it's just a nice way to help us stay organized and efficient, and then also just communicate with each other through that document what we're doing. And Steve had mentioned this earlier about the cohesive district plan. Well, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this with the committee, but we're really going to this is going to be a big priority this year. So professional excellence as well as operational, have this committee put together and really share the leadership and the organization, having a purpose, what the purpose of that committee is going to be, and then create a timeline for when those changes are going to happen, action steps for them, the actions that happen, when we're going to move, how we're going to move, who's going to involve, and then make sure we communicate that out, not only internally with our staff, but also with our parents, our community, and our students. And then, I know this is a goal area that you shared with me, but develop a 5-year strategic plan. So next year will be our on a 2-campus model. We feel like it's going to be a really great time to say, okay, now what does the next 5 years look like? We've got 4 years under our belt and what we've done really well with. And so we put together a foundation for creating a 5-year strategic plan this year as well.
Goal area 4, financial excellence, really focuses around continuing our operations and facility plan. And the first target is to complete year 2 goals of the district referendum plan. So really continuing improve the safety and security of buildings, modernize our facilities, get it up, fulfill our referendum obligation. So see all the improvements we've done so far, but that's probably 40% of the work that we need to do. So some of the biggest improvements that we still have are more the curricular items, like our libraries, finishing up Diamond Lake, doing a lot of the mechanical projects. I think those are going to be the ones that really stand by this project and complete those goals. The second target is a continuation of that plan, so it's really getting our 5-year facility plan to July 2019 to June 2024. And so this is going to involve all the items that are really outside of our referendum scope that we're going to be budgeting our local dollars for the next 5 years on, both locally and our life safety funding. So we're working with our architect on developing a life safety plan and budgeting those projects out. So this is really to make sure we're keeping our facilities up to date and we're not we're getting a good practice of investing money back into our facilities rather than letting them deteriorate and trying to pick it up and back. And then the third target is to really try to move our financial goals in a more transparent manner with our staff, our community members, and get it in an accessible way. So whether it's on our website, whether we're constantly pushing information along via the newsletter, I think it's just really important that we're showing how we're spending not only referendum and facility money, but where our the taxpayer dollars are going. So all the student devices we're buying, transportation, are really the entire scope of what our financial goals are and how we can be responsible for them. Working on that and presenting how these people along the road.
Regarding excellence in communication, we have 3 targets that we will continue to work and develop on. Our first one is communicating individual students and class progress to parents on a frequent and consistent basis. This can happen in many different ways in tactile and electronic format, whether using resources such as PowerSchool, Google Classroom, school-wide newsletters and classroom websites, as well as other resources schools use, such as Class Dojo and Seesaw. It all differentiates based on the different schools and age levels that our students are part of. Target 2, communicating relative information with all stakeholders through school and district electronic communications. I feel like it's a continuity of what we already are doing and continue to actually develop that target even more by developing diverse avenues of our social media, websites, email and phone blasts, as well as newsletters and staff and school communications. And our last target, communicating the district transition and reorganization planning process in a transparent manner, which has been an ongoing thing, and very much so needs to be an excellence in communication. So areas such as our resources on our websites, our local events that we've had within the buildings with facilities, as well as our New Beginnings community and communicating out throughout the school, throughout our teachers, as well as our community as well.
What about you talk about how that's the quality and whether people feel like they receive communication, not just are we sending them out, but how will we know that they've been well received?
I think we have areas such as like the 5 essentials would be a good way to be able to collect that information, as well as being able to communicate out and actually not just push out, but an area where our families can respond. So instead of just having a resource such as communicating out an event that will support, say, our PTO, having some sort of response or surveys that we can utilize afterwards to get to understand if this is relative and relevant information for our families.
Can you get like click-through metrics or?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
I think you do that there, right? He monitors, Facebook activity, Twitter activity, website activity, you know, and specific links that we send out. So he's able to measure all that, I think, and provided that in previous reports. If that's something we'd like to see, include that.
Absolutely. And we're including that a few times and on request for our Google Analytics, we can be able to provide our social media as well as our website. Please click for analytics.
But some sort of current baseline, and then what it looks like towards the end of the year would be a good story to tell.
Absolutely.
Well, do you feel like you're informed as a community member, and then maybe in May, maybe?
The more specific, I was referring to the data that you already have. The stuff is already collecting, to have a say point in time in this calendar year. Totally get better. Here's what our usage is, and then something.
Hold on that though, I think at the beginning of the year, you're always going to have higher metrics. It's far more engaged, not exhausted or burnt out, or haven't gotten that emails. So I think that, I'm not sure if that would skew the results, but if you looked at the click-through data for August, September, and then for May, I would think that you're just going to have a lot of natural attrition because parents are done. But looking at that in conjunction with like a short survey or something might give you better analysis. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, I think like you guys have made major strides in the area of communication. I think they've done a tremendous job, Eric, and I don't want it to look like it's not as successful as it actually is just because of your audience for the time.
Oh, absolutely. You're right. Beginning of the year, that's the most popular time for everybody right now. We look at it based on months, and it also would be very beneficial to know when would be the appropriate time to even to post information for even like, PTO, being able to post information to get parent support and parent information out as well.
We did a similar survey like what we did for staff. We sent out, do you feel like you're communicating not only from with your team, not only from the school level, but also at the district level, and it's a two-way communication. You can ask similar questions like, if you're getting the information, is the information helpful, are you assessing it?
Right.
Right. It may not be what I need to know.
Well, and I think in consideration of the fact that we will be moving from 3 buildings to things like that, I think that and having a sense of, do you have the information that you actually want or need, would be really helpful in making that transition as smooth as possible.
And I think it's a lot of opportunity for communication with families on all everything that's going to happen, opportunities for families to provide input and get that information. Sorry.
No, I agree with you, Joy, and I think two benefits of that is one, help us to focus and refocus, make sure everything that we're doing is the right thing, and make mid-course adjustments. But the second benefit is that it helps us continue to get greater credit for the great things that we're doing. If there's one thing that just over the years I've seen is that sometimes we do such great things here in the district, but we're not capturing full credit for it. So, and I'm not saying right now, I'm just saying sort of, over the past 15 years, I think it's in the district. So I think there's a great opportunity to not only use it tactically, but also use it for unity communication as well.
So if we have some districts where we have a direct communication goal, do you have, do you share with each other? Do you have peers who have tried to do things like this in the front? That's my question.
I have some people that are in the communications aspect, whether they're the technology director that does that additionally, as well as, other groups that we've communicated together on what they're doing. I'm also actively researching what other school districts are doing, the avenues of communication to make sure that we're doing not only the same thing, but making sure that we're sharing our story, our way to our families.
Yes. We encourage you to best practice others. Or how these times. We've been trying to figure out for a long time, and we're getting better at it, but still trying to figure it out.
And I think we're still in the early stages. We started collecting attendance data last year, and the metrics, I think, it's just going to grow, as we continue to do these things, continue to gather participation data, continue to gather feedback from parents, and what's helpful and what's not. Measure that over time. Any other questions? So I think just to summarize, like I said, these goals are ongoing and continuous. We monitor them by grade level, we monitor them by department, by school, and throughout the district. We do so on a regular basis. Teams meet weekly, DLT meets weekly, and each of the teacher leadership teams meet on a monthly or quarterly basis. And I think we look back at these goals a lot and really document, and everybody's working on the same goals. So there's a clear focus and there's system alignment, systematic as well as systemic. So I think everybody knows the direction we're going and where we're going. And it's nice because we have measurable and defined outcomes. And the greatest part about this, I think, is the last bullet where everybody feels with a sense of ownership and collaborative efforts. Because every teacher on the committee, grade levels, as well as all of us have put this together. And so it's that shared leadership and ownership piece that I think really makes it a valuable document for all of us. Any other questions?
Just a question about the 5 essentials. I don't remember what kind of achievement we got last year, but I would hope that we figure out a way to kind of tie a return on that. This is a statement I don't know, something we can figure out others.
And I'd like to, whether we continue with the 5 essentials because it is optional, or we substitute it with something that's more relevant to our district, maybe aligned more with our goals, because that's what I'd like to get. Not only parent feedback about, but student feedback as well as teacher feedback is how well are we doing with our progress according to these goals. They've got some great names, but I'd really like it to be tied more into what we're doing here in each of these 5 areas. So I'd like to do that as well as something like this.
So let me just check specifically for 5 essentials. We're saying continue that, but also, because we're supposed to follow that, right?
It's optional.
It is optional.
But we have to have to get the data, but we have to have something in place for the district. So if we don't do that, we have to have a different tool. Right, that's at no cost. So either we create one or we implement one that we purchase. So we're going to come back to you we'll revise and be more specific in goal 1, target number 3. But is there any other feedback on any of the goals or targets? We'd like to do these on September 4th and roll out our local leadership team. Local leadership teams.
Can we go back to so what specifically,
Goal 1.
just big picture, in terms of moving us from three building model to a 2 building model. That's going to be officially take effect the following year. So this is the year between now and then, everything has to happen such that we start school next year. Got all of it. So this has specific things around change management, around a plan, facilities plan, right?
So people, goal 3. So I would say goal 3, target 3 is develop a cohesive district reorganization plan with purpose, a timeline, action steps, and communication. So I think we're looking at 5 years. We've got, my next presentation is at the beginnings committee, so you'll see a little bit of the committee we put together and then the purpose and goals of that committee. But we're hoping that before winter break, this committee helps us come up with exactly that. Like, this is what we're going to be doing, this is how we're going to roll it out, this is where the teachers are going to find out what classrooms we're going in, this is when the bus routes will be planned, this is when, schedules we have, this is how we're going to communicate out to the families. This is when we have an open house and maybe walk through. Those are the, we haven't come up with that yet, but I'm hoping that that's what we're going to do by the year. So that's the specific plan.
But it seems like that's in all your places.
Right. So like, if you go back to goal 2,
I guess what I'm saying is it just seemed to me like it was like
the central thing. So we really want teachers, as Steve described, in number 3, is to really practice that patience and flexibility and understand the change management or the change process. And then understand that they have a part in that as well as leadership role in that. And then goal 3, target 3 is that's the plan. That's the actual logistical plan. And then it's also in goal 4, which is the financial part of it, how are we going to outline what the projects are going to be, how does that look? And then I believe in goal 5, the last one is communicate that out to people. So I feel like it's a priority that's a target in each one of our goal areas.
Can we go back to the financial goal? By the end of next year, will we have a good sense for how the referendum funds will be spent in their entirety through this plan?
We'll have an idea by the end of the calendar. We're going to be going on the goal of every member of this team is to go out to bid and have bids received before winter. That's when we get the best bids in. And that's when we'll have an entire idea of what not only the budget numbers were, but pretty much what the actual bids contingency built into that. So before the calendar year ends, we're going to know exactly how every dollar of the referendum money is allocated, which projects we're still going to do locally, which ones we're going to leave off the list, because it will be eventually the projects that will fall in that category.
We have some sort of kind of report. Here's what we do.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, we will definitely have that. That's really part of the second target. The 5-year facility plan is going to be anything left off of that referendum. So we're going to have a nice, cohesive summary of what every dollar went to at the referendum, all the actual project costs versus budget, things like that. So we will have a total synopsis of that. And you guys will have to know before, we sign off on all these projects, exactly what we're going to be spending money next year on and what we're going to still have to plan down the road as part of this other 5-year facility plan. Yes.
Actually, do the bonds, the rest of the bonds, right?
That's all been completed. So
You do the whole thing.
yeah, we've already received all that money. It's already been sitting in PMA, getting a lot of interest. So that's been a nice benefit of getting the money early. So yeah, so it's worked out pretty well in terms of financing. And we've already been working with just far as our must-have list, the architects have that, and working on our absolute non-negotiable items. And then we're just kind of tiering the budgets towards it. So our libraries, some of those educational spaces, those are really the must-have items we're focusing on. So we're really just narrowing down that scope and getting the actual defined budgets so that we can get documents out. So the plan is to get the documents out in November.
Our second presentation is a little bit of the theme that we talked about is new beginnings. So while Eric is transitioning from that, New Beginnings Committee is something that we came up with at the end of, towards the end of last year, and put an application out over the summer, and shared some communications with you over the summer about it. But teachers had to apply to be on, teachers had to apply to be on this committee, and we asked them the reasons why, their experience, whatever committees they've been on, so we diversified years of experience in position, as well as their interest in being on a committee. We wanted somebody that had a vision of the whole district improvement, not just somebody that I want a specific role. So that's why we began this thing. So it's really nice. We had we had got 26 applications, and we picked 10 members that you will see. So we have Farragut, so we have Lisa, who is representing the office staff, as well as K-8, pre-K-8, I should say, representation on each of our grade level teams. We've got special ed, we've got specials, and we have Jenny Boyes, our district psychologist, so she's in all three buildings, which is nice to have that perspective of working with staff in all three buildings as well as students. So we've got 10 members on the committee. Committee met a few weeks ago and came up with a purpose, and we had shared this with the whole staff, and we got back together on August 13th, our Institute Day, basically to collaboratively consider the impact of the transition. What is that going to look like? Staff perspective, from parents' perspective, from student perspective, and from the community perspective. And then the logistics, so Lisa talking about her plan. What is that really going to look like? How are we going to roll this out? Not just the change process, but how are we going to implement it? How are we going to physically move people from one building to another, through roads and the process and all of that? Culture and climate. Right now, we have three great buildings with great culture and climate, as well as an overall strong district culture and climate. So how are we going to adapt that into two? Especially with the change in leadership that's about to happen. So we just want to make sure that we retain that, preserve that, as well as enhance more of that. And then overall communication, making sure that we provide the information and communication on an ongoing and continuous basis. And the committee will help us do that and share out things. So when they hear things from staff, well, what about this or what about that? We're to have liaisons from the committee to kind of alleviate people's anxiety or fear. And then also, again, back to the community, sharing with them what is it going to look like for your child when they were in first grade, when they're going to be now at Dunley School, my third grade shouldn't be here at Stowe. So we're hoping to put together a nice, clear plan for that. So our goal for the committee is to implement a successful and positive transition, the district's reorganization from 3 buildings or 3 campuses into 2 campuses, still maintaining our three school model. And then we want to support staff to embrace the opportunities created by the change in the areas of culture, collaboration, communication, and community. And this is something that the committee came up with collaboratively together. They presented this to our staff, like I said, on back to school. And so we created a staff feedback form, and really through that, it's live until August 24th. So this Friday we'll collect all the feedback, but it's just who you are at school, where you're from, what are your questions or concerns that you have about the potential of moving from your building to another, or from the 3 buildings going to 2 buildings. What are suggestions that you have for us to consider? What are ideas that you have, so that every staff member has an opportunity to share that? And then the new beginnings committee will be monthly, until December, and hopefully we'll be able to roll out a comprehensive plan to share out with you as well as the community and with our staff and our students, at the beginning of next year. So it's just nice, again, we really value the teacher leadership piece and the shared ownership and collaboration, and I think they really value and respect that. And I think that was the opening comment when we sat down with the teachers was they thanked us for putting this together. This changes have happened throughout the district, even closing buildings down and consolidating into 2 buildings for a short time, and they were very appreciative of the fact that we're including them and asking them for their insight.
I think including the teachers and responsibility is a great idea. What's going to be the role of administration? These are this committee. I would imagine administration is responsible for getting the things done.
We're on the committee too, so we're all on the committee together. But I think the nice part about having the staff is that they feel like they have a voice.
Absolutely.
And we did open up and say, some decisions are not, and some decisions we're going to have to make, and they may not be popular. Some people want specific rooms moving forward to different buildings. That's not going to happen. Those are going to be administrative decisions that we make. Or access to certain printers or Xerox machines or things like that. Yeah, they're not going to take on any of that. It's just more of a process. It's to keep them involved, have them have a voice. But as far as like paint colors and floors, that's still us.
Well, but we did have a lot of, remember back to the conversation, because we did have a lot of concerns about traffic flow here in Westo, as well as traffic flow in the parking lot, as well as traffic flow inside. So those types of logistics, this group would be really instrumental.
Absolutely, because they live it, so they'll know what's working and what doesn't work. So this is the only door to come in, well, lunchroom, the third grade, the fifth grade, this is the only place to go out. There's, just little things that you may not think of, but they know it because they live it. So I think that, we talked, it was just like, maybe have completely separate entries for Westo Intermediate and Westo Middle School, and the buses are going to drop off over here. So all the traffic is here in the middle school. For those that do come in earlier to drop off, they have completely separate entries. So hopefully that'll lessen traffic, or flow of traffic. But those are kind of, I should not say decisions, but that's the kind of feedback that we're looking for from them. Okay, and then our last presentation is kind of a fun one. We captured, I just wanted to share with you some of the highlights of our Back to School Institute Day. And I thank John and Dave and Lisa for coming. I know the staff really appreciate you all being there. But as I shared with you with me, we went back to school. So we had, I'm not kidding, probably 99.8% participation. Even our new staff that were hired like 3 days before. This was the best part about it because those teams reached out to their new colleagues and said, here, we're gonna do this, we got you a t-shirt, or you're gonna paint glitter all over yourself, or whatever it was. Just so awesome that, and I just, threw some words up there that just kind of captured just the support that they had for each other, the teamwork, the collaboration, the spirit, and so each team kind of came up with a contest of who was the most coordinated team. And you saw there, that's the most coordinated team right there. Okay, back there. So third grade won. They're the ones that are in the cute little dresses with the fancy wigs. But it was just great for them to see. I really liked bottom right corner. If you see, Leticia Berman is out on family leave, and so her team of English language supporters put her face on a poster and decorated it and said, so that they got most creative. And I don't know if you saw Ivan back here.
I love him. He, every year, I feel like goes above and beyond. And it, like, he has one of those, like, outstanding and supportive personalities for all the kids. And it's so fun to see this, too.
I know, and so, yes, as you can see, our leadership team got involved with it, and those are our two speakers, Ricky Rodriguez and Stanley. First, I'm not sure why you weren't in there, but I think, and Tracy, I think that you were busy doing something, because we were looking for you, I couldn't find you.
Yeah, it's a shame. I
I'm like, didn't we get a picture with person Tracy? I didn't see that.
I think that was fucking
Yeah, you were the valet.
Us cheers.
But I think the highlight, and Lisa spoke, and she's in the last slide, but I think the highlight was just the presentations that we had were just so amazing, from Lisa to Ricky to Stanley. And Lisa started out with a great motivational talk about leadership and how they can be teachers to be leaders in their classroom. And then Ricky, for those of you that don't know, Ricky was a District 76 graduate from pre-K through 8, that went on to Mundelein High School and got a scholarship to go to Stanford, and was just an amazing student leader and got up there and stole the show. I mean, without notes or anything, just recognized and shared his gratitude to the staff and named every single one of them that he had. So it was very moving, it was very inspirational. And then a hard act to follow, and then, but Stanley did it. He wrote the book, and I think we shared it with all of you. There's no place like hope. So just a very trauma-filled life, and in poverty and saw a lot of violence, and how one teacher made a difference and really just gave him the foundation of his success who he is right now. So he'll come back throughout the year, and he's going to work on our November and March Institute days and help us work with our staff, getting them common language to use with kids, and then just how to continue to be hope and inspiration to them. And then it was great because I feel that staff were really engaged. You couldn't hear a sound when Ricky was talking, and then there wasn't a dry eye when Stanley was talking. So it was just a great way to start and end. And Lisa did a great job and really inspired them too. So thank you to the board for your support, for allowing us to do this, because I think it's just an amazing start to the school year. Definitely look forward to it, and they just walk out energized and ready to start back to school, right? So it was a great start to the school year. And I know on Monday, the principals were here, and they got the same feedback, that they had just a really nice start to the year. So if you'd like to add anything, district leadership team, I know you're tired.
What are the teachers saying about the new days?
I just, being in the district for 16 years, and seemed to not, I came right after this renovation in 2001 happened, so I think some of your children were in the district at least. And the teachers, it has changed just the tenor of the building. More conducive to learning. It's less industrial, institutional. The children have, I think, embraced and like the colors. Granted, we've been to school 5 days, but I can tell you it's been a very good start of the year. Just being in this room and looking at a floor that's comfortable and decent, and, for our children, it helps them. This will help our PE and our sessions in here. The flooring in the hall and the bathrooms, there's more of a sense of uppity, like we're deserving of this, and this is nice, and that's good. It sends a good tone, so I think it's appreciated tremendously. It's quiet. The halls, everything is very. Yeah. There's a little calmness, there's not rush. We changed our schedule, we've done some things. I think, and our teachers are embracing new beginnings already. I think we're doing some things differently. where, where we have Stanley and PBIS committee working real hard and doing some things. We've implemented a different hall pass system that's been really good. We're really focusing on students being self-directed and responsible. I know you forgot this, but next time you're in it or use pass, just there's a different sense in the building. So I think it's been really positive. I've heard a lot of compliments from staff. But again, I do think that, like all new things, it'll be unorthodox and orthodox, but it's not just the environment that we want to change and continue to focus on improving. And when I say environment, I'm talking about the physical environment, but also the cultural environment and all that. I think it's reflective of that, so it's really positive.
Say over time, we're not done yet. We're not done here yet either. We're a stage behind, and so my staff is going over here to see what's coming. We're excited about that, but I think more than just the appearance of it, it's kind of like we've seen pretty big rocks the past few years. Do some things that maybe aren't so noticeable, it's allowing how to get the pretty with it as well. And just our staff is walking the door, I've maybe come a few times, and you're at your school, and then it's full 5 days. I feel like we can see the former, and this just helps that. Everything's flowing and things are going great. They have a place that they can, our parents wise, physically be proud of. It just there's a pep in the step, and it's an awesome.
For discussion and questions. The first item up is the omnibus agenda. Items on the omnibus agenda will be approved by resolution if any one board member, staff, administrator, or citizen wishes to have a separate vote on any item or items. That item or items will be holding the omnibus agenda and voting on separately. Be it resolved that the Lake Texas Board of Education accepts and approves the omnibus agenda items A, B, D, as listed. May we have a motion to approve?
Bella?
Yes.
Bordeaux?
Yes.
Hale, yes. Hopman?
Yes.
Hansler? Walker? Yeah.
Yes. Next item are personnel related items. Be it resolved, the Diamond Lake Services Board of Education accepts and approves the personnel items as included on the agenda. This includes 2 new hires, a leave of absence, and 2 resignations. Any comments or questions on this item?
Just an update, to the personnel notes, 3 new hires. Yes.
3 new hires. What would you say?
3 hires.
Comments or questions on this item? We have a motion to approve.
Bordeaux?
Yes.
Hopman?
Yes.
Hale, yes. Hansler? Andela? Walker? Yeah.
The next item up is the approval for the superintendent contract. Whereas the Board of Education has reviewed the addendum to the superintendent's contract commencing on July 1st, 2018 and terminating on June 30th, 2023. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Education of Diamond School District approves the 5-year contract for the superintendent as presented. Comments or questions on this item? May I have a motion to approve?
Hopman?
Yes.
Andela?
Yes.
Walker? Gaffey? Bordeaux?
Yes.
Hale, yes.
So this is a motion to release or not release all closed session.
All right, so I'm going to read the motion and we'll discuss it. Motion to release or not release all closed session minutes of the board meetings held between January and June 2018. This executive session minutes is January 18th, February 6th, February 20th, March 20th, April 17th, May 1st, May 15th, June 5th, and June 19th. So, discussion on this item. I feel like the last time we looked at this item was the last meeting. We were all looking at the minutes. We were in the meeting discussing. So we've not as we've discussed it, right? The precursor of the meeting.
So, right, and then, uploading.
These have already been approved.
Correct.
So we're in the process.
So what you're deciding tonight is what you're doing this time, not this time. They're not employed. This time is return. Or they say not eligible to release. So indeed, I can summarize the term of session. We always talked about not releasing. Request for this.
So the board members who were in attendance at the meeting last time, that's where we had it out. So this motion would be motion to not release. Other thoughts on that? Hold that. Okay, so the motion to not release all the closed session minutes from the board meetings held between January and June 2018, the dates as listed. We still need a motion. The motion is to not release. Do we have a motion, please?
Second. Bordeaux,
Yes.
Hale, yes. Cotton,
Yes.
Kessler, Candela, Walker, yes.
Next item is for board discussion. This is the memo related to the Press Plus, which is what we discussed at prior meeting.
So, Daisy put together a very nice summary of what Press Plus offers, and then if you decide to take action on that, the next steps, 1 through 5, are summarized in the memo. So we got to discuss it now. These are just outlined based on some of the questions that came up the last time. And then we will send them in September 4th. You can check to take action and start the process of having Press Plus. Just wanted to know if there were any additional questions before we place next meeting for action.
The meeting with the policy consultant, there's a 2-hour meeting, the price is $1,620. Is that price inclusive of the follow-up that includes the next meeting as point 3 and delivery of the updated manual part 5? Or is that 1620 just for that 2-hour meeting?
It was just for that, so like you lose the 26. It was presented at the meeting. So it's
at first we will have to pay 50% and 40% and 10%.
So this is part of the 40. It's 2016, 20, and then whatever the remainder is of the 46, 50, correct? Correct.
Then that includes the maintenance too, right? So when all this is developed, then there's the maintenance, and then that would be an annual subscription.
Correct.
But the consulting piece, you may or may not need it in future years. We're thinking it's a one-time thing. Okay, and what is this FYI to us? Because there's going to be a future request for that. That's 4,600.
So next meeting, we're going to put this on board action to,
There's a contract, in which, kind of lays out those 5 steps that mechanism, the actual discussion, that I received from Andy, who's the director of
So what is the commitment we're making in terms of the subscription service? Is it year by year?
It is.
So will we have from you guys some assessment of the value of this and whether we want to continue that subscription in future years?
yes, and we look at the 60. It's all policies together, available online. So we will definitely, so a year from now, so next September, we'll share with you, we've been having our policies updated, after a year of service, and we want to renew this membership next year.
So this 4,600 is for the press, it's including the first year of the membership plus some additional consulting. What are we currently paying for press, and does that cost go away? Are we offsetting an already existing membership fee?
I gotta look at the exact costs, but, it would be offset.
Yes, all of that in the last meeting, that was subsumed, the cost that we're running is subsumed into this. So meaning that this basically just replaces the fee that we're paying.
Right, but we don't know how much. If it replaces it, then we don't know how much.
It was in the last one.
Yeah, let me go take a look at that. I'll
That's okay, we don't need to know now, but it would be nice to know before we vote next time.
Cost of current process.
Right. How much is this, not the consultancy and the board review piece, but the maintenance service? How much are you paying more than you're currently paying?
No.
Okay, any other comments or questions on this? All right, next up are the freedom of information requests. Is one fulfilled?
Yes, and we get a response and we have elements.
There's some communications. There is a note here from the board, from the president of the union, and thanking us for their back to school luncheon experience. Let's read it. All right, at this time we open up the floor for any public comments on our non-agenda items. Having no comments, we go to others. How's our bestie?
So far, so good. There's been one issue with, in regards to this tracking app that, the parents are supposed to be able to use to track their students. They're still working out some kinks with that one, but, otherwise, things have been, for the most part, so they're kind of,
So that's good news for the end of the year. You're on that. Day one was real bad. My kid got lost on the bus. Now the bus was late every morning. And the Western bus is early, so.
Conveniently, they're going to train.
There's like 900 trains. I mean, that's a part of it.
I know. Today, we had a route late, and it was an accident at 45 that was really bad. That you can probably do, but we keep monitoring the buses in the morning and sharing that information. It'll get better.
I feel like the school's hands are kind of tied there. I mean, I think you guys do really everything you can. I specifically sent a note to Mr. Puddle as a result of the app because you can't use the app, but asking if the routes could be posted again, because what I noticed last year was Durham seemed to be deviating from the route that they were saying that they were supposed to be following. So I think for parents, it's helpful to have that. And also for the late start and everything, I think it's just helpful for you to have to just be able to reference that. I know Westo gives it out, if your teacher assignment and your schedule, which is really helpful.
yeah, and that was my fault about the app. They gave it to us, and we started trying to use it, and of course, it crashed or whatever the case may be, so. Probably it's gonna be ready by the end of the week, because I said we're not gonna pay them until it's ready, so.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's your fault. I just think that
Yeah.
they don't have our city listed in the app, and you have to have a student ID number to use it, and you don't have that, so.
And it's there, I think, person's office, so I think we've been asking for some sort of solution. So
Right.
we can do it, like,
Well, they had that in the spring, like in the spring, the app existed and it was a trial. So I just assumed when I saw that in all the principals' Friday letters that it was working. I was kind of excited. I was like, oh, I might actually be able to track my kid.
Well, that was the people that are kind of trial and error for me, and then, yeah. I will be trying to get it this week, I'll just so that I can get some more. Is that how?
All right then, any others?
Oh, I have a question. Mr. Rogers, is Power School going to be available for lunch payments? Like, were you looking at that last year?
Yes, it's available, again, I haven't seen from a parent perspective of it, it's in each student's account from our lunch clerks. They can see, the student balance. I believe it should be available to you as well. Again, I have to take a look. I'll take a look tomorrow with you, Eric, and just confirm what it looks like from a parent perspective, but they've been filling out since last year, and everyone's lunch.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah, everybody's balance, and then deducting, each meal for the day. So we've been working on that since last. It's working really, really well. Yeah, and I know this year, Mr. Wilbur, Mr. Hanson working on electronic orders as well.
Oh, I heard all that.
Kicked it off this morning. An increase in student orders of lunches.
That's great.
And some students went home last night and did the whole week. Yeah, very positive.
Okay, any others? All right, this is time. We can take a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Hale, yes. Hopman,
Yes.
Bordeaux,
Yes.
Kessler, Candela.
Yes.
Good.
This is all for